Three.
Yeah, morning. We're going to talk a little bit about Swiss team strategy, which I wasn't planning on talking about, but I know there's a Swiss game this month, and some of you are new to that. And Swiss is a lot different than your normal match point. It's really, they have two different goals, right? Match point is you want to do better than as many people as you can. That's the idea of match point. Like if you beat them by 10 points, it's as good as 1,000, right? So just beat as many people as you can. And you do a lot of strange things in match point. Like a lot of people are really focused on making their contract, right? That's what they did around their kitchen table, right? I'd make my contract, and once I did, I'm done. Like, I don't really care. But of course, match point, over tricks are big stuff, right? If you make your contract in match points, and they're all making their contract with an over trick, you just got a zero, right? Mm-hmm. New players don't really like that, right? But that's a fact of life, right? Match points, it's all about doing better than the other people have your cards, and beat as many people as you can. In the Swiss team game, which is more like what people are used to, you want to be making your games, bidding your games, setting them, and you don't really worry about over tricks too much. So Linda asked me to list what I think is the 5 biggest things that you want to be doing different in Swiss teams than you do in match points. And one of them is bidding games, especially vulnerable games. At match points, you got to think you're going to make it to bid it, right? If you think, maybe I could make it, but it might be hard, you don't want to go down, right? Don't bid the game, right? It has to be at least 50-50 for you to bid it at match points. If your chances of, well, I might have a shot, forget the might have a shot stuff, right? You don't want to go down. At Swiss teams or imps, you bid those games. You bid those games because it's worth it, because of the bonus you get for making a game, right? If you make a vulnerable game, you get a 500-point bonus, right? You make a non-vulnerable game, you get a 300-point bonus. Now, if you go down 100 because you go down 1 in vulnerable, or 50 because you go down 1 non-vulnerable, okay, it's still worth the chance. You were taking a shot at 500 and you're risking just 100 on the other side, right? Mm-hmm. So if you think you have a decent shot, you bid it. It doesn't have to be 50-50. At match points, you're not really that anxious to be getting a negative score. So it has to be at least 50-50 for you to bid the game. That's the key thing, my number one. Number 2 is, and again, Swiss teams, you're worried about that game bonus. If they're in, say, 2 spades and you double them and they make it, that's the same as making, there's a chair here if you want it. That's the same as making 4 spades, right? 2 spades, double. That's called doubling them into game. That's as if they made 4 spades if they make it. Now, if you're sure you're going to beat them, it doesn't matter what they get if they make it, because they ain't making it. But if you're not sure, and you think you might just get them 1, do not double at, here's a seat over here if you'd like it. Here's a seat here if you'd like it.
Oh, well, I hate to get in the way of the filming.
But you don't double them into game in imps unless you're sure, right? Because if you do, just what we talked about before. You're giving them the 300, 500 point game bonus. That's something that you want to get. You don't want to give it to them, right? So don't double close games if you're going to double them into game. Like don't double 2 spades, right? Don't double 3 spades. Don't double 2 no trump. Don't double 3 clubs, right? You're doubling them into game. You're giving them the game bonus. You got to be sure of getting them. Now, if you are sure, don't be so timid that, well, he said not to double them into game, so I didn't. If they're going down, punish them, but it's not worth it to try and get an extra 50 points if you're giving them the game bonus. So that's the second thing. Don't double them into game unless you're sure. As opposed to match points, most people don't double nearly enough. And the reason they don't is they feel bad when they double and the opponents make it. Then they feel bad. If you're playing somebody who's not, we'll say, real nice, they kind of dig you a little bit, right? You see them smirking there or whatever, right? They shouldn't do that.
Are you okay to stay?
They shouldn't do that. But in any case, whether they do or they don't do, it shouldn't bother you. They're supposed to make it 1 out of 3 times when you double. You're supposed to get them 2 out of 3. That's what makes it worthwhile to double. If you get them every single time you double, you're way too timid to double it at match points. Like, I double people, they make it. Let's play the next hand. Number 3. When you're playing match points, over tricks are important. Like I said earlier, if everybody's in 4 hearts and some are making 10 tricks and some are taking 11, the people who took 10 tricks get a bad board, right? Maybe even a 0. When you're playing imps, you don't want to throw away tricks, but you never risk your contract for an over trick at imps. You've got the game bonus in your pocket, right? Don't throw it away by trying to get an over trick. So imps, that word risk, don't risk your contract for over tricks, right? If they're there, take them, but don't risk it for over tricks. Matter of fact, just the opposite. Typically, like if you have 5 cards outstanding in your trump suit, you have 8 of them, most of the time, you're going to split 3-2, right? That's going to happen over 60% of the time. They're splitting 3-2. When you're playing match points, play for that 3-2 split. When you're playing imps, what you should be thinking about, what's going to happen if they're 4-1? Because they do go 4-1 maybe 20% of the time, right? So if there's a way to protect yourself against that 4-1 split, think about it. Think about it at trick 1, right? And if you give up an over trick to protect yourself, that's called a safety play. Give up the over trick to make your contract. It's all about making your contract at imps, at match points. Making your contract often is not enough, right? You have to do better than the others. So don't risk your contract for over tricks when you're playing in the Swiss game. Like if you see you're going to make it, make it. And if you go down in a cold contract, hope you're not playing with me. Okay. The fourth one that a a lot of people don't talk about, don't sacrifice unless you're sure. Think about it. If you sacrifice, say you're both vulnerable, right? And if they make a vulnerable game, say it's in a major, they'll get 620, right? Say you sacrifice and go down 2 and you get doubled like you should, what did you give up?
Invulnerable,
Mm-hmm.
1-3, or 2-5,
2-5, 500, right?
500.
You just volunteered to give up 500 points by sacrificing. At match points, that's fine, because they were gonna get 620, that's great. You'd be jumping up and down for that. But not at imps, because basically the difference is 120 points. 120 points is not enough.
There's 3 imps.
Yeah, that's nice, but it's not a risk, because if you have any chance at all of setting that contract, you just lost the match, right? Say you did set them. Well, now instead of 620, they'd have minus 100. Now it's the 600 difference.
That's 12.
Yeah, and that's usually the match. That's usually it for you. It's all over once you gave them a 600 swing. So, at match points, it pays to be aggressive when you sacrifice. Especially, yeah, I think they're making it. Let's see what happens. Sometimes they'll go up another level and go down. Hey, sometimes I won't even go down too. And if it's my birthday, right, I'll make it.
It's mine.
Yeah, oh, happy birthday. Anyway, so don't sacrifice unless you're sure. You're just giving away too much when you play that. And the last one that I'll tell you before I'll get on to what I was planning on talking about today was, when you're playing match points, I'm not saying you never play 5 of a minor, but I'm saying you almost never play 5 of a minor. Why?
They're playing no trump.
Because if 3 no trump is there and you make an over trick, just one over trick, say you're vulnerable, that's 630, right? If you're playing 5 of a minor, even if you make it, it's what? It's 600, right? That's a bad board. Like when you play 5 of a minor, you're not just not betting that 5 of a minor is gonna make, you're betting that 3 no trump making 4 will not make. So 5 of a minor is something you only bid when you're sure that 3 no trump is not making, right? If you bid back and forth and it's obviously you have a suit that's wide open, well, sure, there's no sense going down in 3 no trump instead of making 5 of a minor, right? That can't be good bridge. But if 3 no trump is likely to make, and you're 5 of a minor, that's almost always a bad score in match points. At imps, if I get my 600 in my pocket for making 5 of a minor, I don't care if 3 no trump making 4 makes, right? That extra 30 points is nits. Yeah.
Did you go over the difference in scoring between match points and imps before we got in the room?
No.
Or would you go over it?
Just slightly. The difference is, though, basically, and you look on your convention card, it shows you on the back of it, maybe, I don't know, someplace, oh, on the bottom of it, it shows the difference on the bottom of your convention card. It shows you how many imps you get. It's basically the difference between what you got and what your opponents got. So if the difference is like 600, if you look on the bottom, you would get 12 imps. that's a lot of imps. And so the main thing about the scoring in imps, it's how much distance you put yourself between you and your opponents, right? That's why you've got to get the game bonus when it's there. As opposed to match points, the scoring is how many people did I did better than. Doesn't matter how much I did better than. If I took an over trick that you didn't, I'm going to get a really good board at match points. If I get an over trick at imps that you didn't, that's one imp. Okay.
The thing that I learned about Swiss when I started playing is when you play regular match points, each hand stands on its own. But in match point, you play 8 boards.
It depends. You don't always play.
But typically you play 8 boards and they all add together.
Right.
So if you have one where you lost big, you made a mistake, you missed it, and you gave the opponents a big, it could cause you to lose the whole match, because it's a match. It's not individual boards.
That's right. One bad board, like if you throw away 12 imps, that can easily cost you the match.
Yes.
Okay, I'll field any other questions you have on that. Otherwise, I'm going to talk about what I was planning on talking about.
I got one question.
Sure.
You talked about the percentage that you need to bid to make close games. How about bid and make close slams?
Slams is still 50-50 because remember, yeah, you get a great bonus for slams, right? It's $750, $1,000, right? Based on whether you're vulnerable.
Yeah.
However, if you throw that away, you just threw away the game bonus. So slams have to be at least 50-50. Don't stretch for slams. It has to be at least 50-50 to bid the slam. So slams are kind of the same at match points and imps. That's why they didn't put it on the board.
Yeah, pretty much a game, a non-vulnerable game, and a non-vulnerable slam. It's only like two extra imps. So the slam doesn't give you a big number.
Well, it's, yeah, and also, yeah, once you get past 12,
Yeah.
you don't get a lot.
That's
But-
right.
But the point is, slams have to be at least 50-50 in either game. All right. I'm gonna put this, what I mostly want to talk about today is the play of the hand. I'm gonna go through a few hands, and if I have time, I will talk a little bit about slam bidding. But mostly, I want to talk about the play of the hand, because despite what people think, learning a lot of conventions does not make you a better player. It just makes you the same kind of player you were before, except now you knew a lot of conventions. And if you're bad, you're still going to be bad. Those conventions are not going to rescue you. Most of the people, especially people in club games, though, they are good card players. Like, I'm not going to embarrass anybody, but I know people in this area, they're great card players that have a great record when they play, especially in the club. But their bidding is no better than average, but they can play the cards. If you can play the cards, it covers a multitude of mistakes. If you play the card, like when I first played with my dad, who I learned from, I didn't even know how to score. I didn't know what any of the bids meant, and I was only 21 and I didn't care. And all I knew was I was going to try and play the hand, and I could. I could play the hand well. Like, as awful as a bidder I was, we won. We played once a week. We played in a game like that. We played 12 times. We won. We were first 9 of them. And it wasn't because I knew how to bid, because I didn't. I won because I had the best partner, that was a big help. And two, I could play the cards almost immediately. I could figure it out. And that's what I'm gonna try and help you in most of these sessions for a while, to show you what I would do and what the good card players in there would also do. I'm not saying I'm the only one who would do it, but the good card players in there would do it and the bad ones would not. Anyway, so I have two hands. The north hand and the south hand. And of course, that's an easy one. Everybody's gonna make one spade. This guy comes in with a double. This guy now is gonna pass, right? Definitely not gonna support the spades, right, with a singleton deuce. This guy over here bids two clubs. What does two clubs show?
She's got a bargain bid.
No, the two clubs is over here.
Yeah, oh,
What is, this guy doubled over here. Double, pass, two clubs. What does he have?
double.
An overcall and a five.
No,
or
he doesn't have
He
anything.
has
His
zero.
partner made him bid.
Yeah.
His
Yes.
partner made a takeout double over here.
Okay.
0 to 8 points.
Yeah, 0 to 8 points is what he has. And
Quite
hopefully
possibly
4
5.
clubs.
He might have five.
How-
down
I'm sorry,
there.
how many
His best
clubs?
suit.
Hopefully he has at least 4.
One spade.
But sometimes you're trapped, right? This guy has to bid, right? Like, he's forced to bid. The gun's to his head, right? Your partner makes takeout doubles and you don't take it out, you'd be looking for a new partner. Right? Takeout doubles are made to be taken out. You made him bid, he doesn't have much, he made a cheap bid, and you hope he has something, but he hasn't really shown anything. Matter of fact, he's shown, like you said, no more than 8 points, or he would have jumped. Anyway, so he bids too close, which shows nothing. Here, back to me, by the way, I'm south.
Jeff,
Hmm?
so 2 clubs of takeout double, if you had a 4-card major or a 5-card minor, you wouldn't skip and go name the major first, or you would just go ahead and do the minor?
No, if they, I would take, that's a good question. In general, if I have a really bad hand, and I have a 5-card minor and a 4-card major, I'm bidding the major. Because that's what's called a one, I'm only gonna get to bid one time, so I'm gonna show you my major. If I have a good hand, I'll show you the minor, and I'll show you the major later on. Like that'd be a 2-bid hand. But if I only got 1 bid, I'm showing the major. So that's a good question. So anyway, this guy bids 2 clubs. My partner showed me nothing, right? So I'm not, like if I was playing imps, by the way, I might bid 4 spades because I'm gonna take my shot at the game. But I'm not, and I'm not interested in going down, right? So I just bid 2 spades, and this guy bids 4 clubs. This guy still ain't bidding. This guy's not bidding back to me. I'm not defending 4 clubs, right? Like basically, I'll probably get my ace, king of hearts, but because I have 6 of them, there's a real good chance that I might only get 1 spade, right? And my partner's shown nothing. I'm not even sure I could beat 4 clubs. So, 4 spades it is, right? Besides, I didn't pay to be the dummy, right? And I certainly didn't pay to play defense. Like, when I first started playing, like, it was me against 3 opponents. I was gonna be playing the hand. That was That was why I was there. And it was only after I went down enough times that I decided on the hands that really weren't gonna play well, I let my partner play those.
I've seen him do that.
Yeah, it's good rate. I was, like, the last choice was to be playing defense. Defense is hard. If you read the bulletin, the best players, they don't find the winning defense a lot of the time. Because you don't see what your partner has. And sometimes, no matter how good they are, they don't have a way of showing you. And there you are guessing. And I don't really like the guess. I like for the opponents to be doing the guessing. Anyway,
Jeff, I got a question.
yeah.
Why is 2 spade bid by South on the second better than him bidding 3 spades with that
Well,
hand?
because his partner showed nothing.
Yeah.
Like if his partner showed any life, you'd probably make some kind of game forcing bid, maybe, right? Like if he just bid on the, say this guy passed and this guy bid 1 no trump, you just bid 4 spades, right? I don't have enough for slam, but I have enough for game. But when my partner's showing nothing and the guy behind me is bidding, it's the low road. Like you could go to 3 or 4 spades, and like I said, you probably would want to do that at imps when you're pushing for the game. But I'm really looking not to go negative. So it's not that it's wrong, it's a matter of it's risky. Like if my partner has nothing, I'm looking at 1, 4, 5 losers, right? If my partner can cover 2 of them, I'm great. And if he can't, forget it. Okay, and West leads the king of clubs. Always think before you play to the first trick, even when it's obvious. And here it is, right? Because I'm going to be playing the 8 of clubs on the first trick, right? Everybody in the room is playing clubs on the first trick unless they choose to renege, right? But if you're not reneging, you're playing the 8 of clubs. Think about what you're doing. I need 10 tricks, right? Of course, if things go bad for me, they could have got 4 tricks right off the drop, right? If they could trap my queen of diamonds, and they could take 3 diamonds and a club. But anyway, they play the king of clubs, and count your tricks. How many tricks do I have? Well, 8.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
9.
9, right, got 9 tricks, sorry.
9 of them.
6, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Have some more.
And the queen of diamonds on the board, queen of hearts on the board is 9.
I think you're gonna take 1 club with North having 5 clubs.
Let me make sure I'm. That's 13 cards.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, the queen of heart gives you.
Oh, the queen of hearts, that's
Yeah.
the 9th trick,
Yeah.
that's what I was missing. So I have 9 tricks, right?
Yeah.
8 in my hand and the queen of hearts, right? 9 tricks, right? I gotta get the 10th trick. Where am I gonna get the 10th trick from?
Hearts.
From those hearts.
You're gonna,
Or the ace king of diamonds with West.
Yeah, there are really 2 shots at it, you're right. There are 2 ways to get the ace trick, the 10th trick. If West has the ace king of diamonds, right? I just keep leading toward the queen, right? What's the chances of that happening?
25%.
Yeah,
But the
25.
bidding might indicate a little better chance.
Yeah, a little better than 25% because he's the one who showed the points. But it's roughly 25%, right? We'll call it 25% plus, which beats zero, right? And the other one, somebody said, what's the other one? Way to do it.
3-3 heart split.
Yeah, the 3-3 heart split, right? What's the chances of the 3-3 heart split?
33%.
A little bit, around 34, 35. Yeah, but you're in the thing. It's in the 30s.
Yeah.
You know, most of the time when there's an even number out, they're not splitting, but it's in the 30s, right? So it's, we'll call it about 35% or so, which is the better shot. Plus,
We'll take them both.
right, take them both, right? Take them both, and if you're gonna take them both, which are you gonna play for first? Right, the heart split. I gotta play for the heart split first, right? If I play for the diamonds first, and they end up taking 3 diamonds in addition to the club they already have, doesn't matter if the heart's split, right? Right? So I can't give them 3 diamonds, so I gotta play the hearts first.
Play an ace king out of your hand.
That's the question to you. What am I gonna do?
I would say ace king out of your hand, 10 to the queen.
Yeah, I would too.
Okay, now, and after the heart, I'll give you that, they're still on lead.
You might even get a 4th trick if it's split even.
Yeah.
That would really be your lucky day, right?
Yeah, well, it's my birthday, you know, so
Yeah,
it's gonna be my lucky day.
okay, and now, after they win the king of hearts, they switch, no,
No clubs.
5 of hearts.
There's one of the ace of clubs, the king of clubs.
5 of hearts.
Led the 5 of hearts, right?
Okay.
What do you do?
So you're out of hearts over here in your hand.
No,
correct?
you have the ace king 10 in your hand.
So this is only the second lead.
This is second lead.
Oh, sorry.
They just cashed the king of clubs, now they led the 5 of hearts, right?
Let
Duck
it
on the
let it
board.
right around.
Duck on the board.
Okay, and then what?
You
And
hope-
then
you
they
hope
play
you can
low
win.
over here, what do you do?
You're gonna win with a 10.
You gotta play the ace.
And then
Gotta play the ace.
You gotta play the ace.
Okay.
right, the thing is,
Okay.
plan ahead and think about it. If you let it ride around to the 10, you win the 10,
You can't get to the,
Can't
you
get back.
cannot get to the board, right?
Right.
Right, you can't reach the board. Your only way of reaching the board is the 10 to the queen. You need to spend the time before you start playing to do that. You can't win the 10 and then think, I shouldn't have done that, right?
Right.
Oops.
Which,
Seemed good at the time.
been there, done that.
How many
the point is, everybody's been there. You're gonna do it some of the time till you're tired enough. If you don't have enough experience enough, you're gonna do it some of the time. But to be a good card player, almost never. Do not win the 10 because you thought about it ahead of time. And it's a natural thing to do, right? That's what people do reflexively. I'm gonna win as cheap as I can, and now I'm gonna take the ace, king, queen. Oh, oops, I can't reach the queen.
Yep.
So the key thing is, what you have to do is, you have to play the ace, king of hearts, and then 10 to the queen, and then if they split, you're home, right? Then the 4th heart is good.
Drawing trump before you get into all that.
What?
Drawing trump before you get into all that.
Yeah, that's true. You would pull trump before you did all that stuff. But as soon as you're in your hand, you're correct. There's no reason not to pull trump. So you would pull the trump, But then you play the 10, and if they don't split,
Then you got the diamonds.
then you go back and you get to try them both, right?
For the
Then
diamond.
you try that the ace, king of diamonds.
When you
Or-
play the diamond, would you play the queen of diamonds then? If West doesn't come up with the king?
Yeah, because you're hoping he has the ace, king,
Yeah.
right? If he doesn't have the ace, king, you're dead. So you do play the queen.
Play the queen.
So anyway, this is an important unblocking hand, and
Plus, even if you go down, you're in match points, even if you go down, you didn't think you were gonna be able to beat 4 clubs, so you got a better board anyway, because you only, you know,
yeah,
they were gonna get 130 and you're either gonna lose 100 or lose 50.
yeah. But a good player makes his hand, somebody who plays reflexively, like I'm gonna win as cheap as I can, is gonna go there. Because they're gonna win the 10 of hearts, because that's the reflex play. That's what you're trained to do. I'm not gonna win the ace when I could win the 10, right? But if you didn't think about it ahead of time, that's exactly what you're gonna do. Anyway, Mary made some copies, and I'll let you take one. If you don't get one, tell Mary and she'll get you one. But this is an important unblocking. And we don't have enough time to go through another hand, but I'm gonna start it and let you,
Which gold are you in?
this is August of this year, Cantor's column.
And what was it called? Art?
This is, it's Cantor Test Your Play.
Cantor. Okay.
And we're gonna go through it next time, but here's the hands. Here's north. And south. And south is playing 4 hearts. We'll skip the bidding, we'll talk about it next time. And you get the jack of spades lead. Now, the point of this hand is what? When you look at this hand, how can they hurt you? What are you afraid of, or what you should be afraid of?
I'm afraid of a bad heart split.
Diamonds.
Yeah, diamonds is, who said diamonds?
She said diamond.
Oh, you were right, diamonds, right? You sure as hell don't want a diamond through your king, right? That should hit you. If a diamond comes through my king, I'm gonna lose. By the way, you should, when they lead the jack of spades, you have to go up with the queen, and sure enough, this guy wins the king of spades, which usually happens. So you already lost the spade. You don't really want to lose 2 diamonds, right?
So you got clubs, you're okay with clubs, and hearts, you gotta,
Well, if the hearts, depends on the heart split or not. It's,
yeah.
most of the time, they won't go, right? Most of the time, when there's 4 out, they're not splitting. Anyway, the point of this hand, and we'll go through it next time, is keep the dangerous hand off lead. That's what I wanted to leave you with today. Keep the dangerous hand, and the dangerous hand is this one, right? You don't want this guy leading diamonds through your king, right? That's the theme. That's it. That's an important thing you have to declare. When you have an exposed situation like that, it should hit you. That's a weakness, right? I don't want a diamond through that. That means I don't want this guy leading. What can I do about it? Okay. Next week or next month, I'll tell you what you can do about it. Thanks for coming. Well, I can't keep you now. They're going to start in 5 minutes.
How many handouts are we short?